Hi, it's Bill. Once more, I'm going to hop outside in the yard in a hammock and test some insulation. Today, it's going to be the one wind underquilt and blanket. Again, with a one wind top quilt. This should be in my 12-footer, my Dutchware 12-footer, and we'll just see how warm it is. It's 25 degrees out, snowing a little bit, light breeze, similar conditions to my Ayamaya tests. And, there's a lot more that goes into being comfortable outside in the winter than just the temperature and the insulation you're using. There's some physiological elements that enter into it. What kind of condition you're in, if you're tired and worn out, or if you're full of energy, if you've eaten. So all of that helps you stay warm, or the opposite, causes you not to be warm when you might otherwise be. So these are important things to take into account. Um, I am wearing the same clothes. Again, I do change my clothes, but I am wearing the same clothes today that I wore for the other tests, just to keep that parameter the same as much as possible. All right, let's take a look. Once again, I'm tucked in nice and cozy in the hammock with the one wind under quilt and the blanket going on in the top quilt there. It's about 27 degrees or so, give or take a degree or two either way. And I made a couple of changes to the setup here since the last time I hung, from my last video anyways. It's hard to see, but that's the ridge line. That's the ridge line there. That's the top seam for the windsock. And what I've done is I took a S-hook and I just put it through that loop and hooked it to the ridge line, and another one down there doing the same thing on the other end, and that just helps hold the ridge line and the seam of the windsock closer together so things aren't sliding around. And of course I'm in the 12-foot hammock today, so the windows, there's plenty of material to cover everything, but I don't have a bunch of excess material like I had with the 10-foot hammock. So this is just about perfect. And once again, I have taken shock cord and attached it to the side of the underquilt just to pull the sides up a bit, and that runs up to a prusik knot there, which I can slide up and down on the ridge line to get a better pull on it and keep things out of my way at the same time. So outside temperature is 26 degrees now. Yeah. This is probably not settled down yet. I'll give it a few more minutes and we'll just see how warm it is in here. Now the one wind is intended to be used with its own hammock, and it has these tensioners on the side here that are integrated into that system. I'm not sure exactly what they're intended for with the hammock, but I use them just to tighten up the hem along the sides, and that helps hold in the heat a little bit. There's one on either side. If I can get that one there. And so I just tighten them up a little bit, and that helps to tighten the elastic and hold the warm air in all the way around. A little better. I have a little cold spot in the middle of my back that's been coming and going, but it corresponds roughly to where this opening is in the windsock. So I am going to grab the Ayamaya, the green Ayamaya, and throw it on, and hopefully that will alleviate the issue. Well, I think I found part of the problem, at least, with the one wind underquilt. This is the inner blanket. This is the outer part of it, and the inner blanket is not attached on the end there, so this extra material is just sliding down in. Well, this is nice now, nice and toasty. I've got that warm glow going, so definitely needed that third layer underneath me. Also needed to hook up the elastic, the shock cords for the Ayamaya also, just to make sure it was getting pulled up in the right position. Our outside temperature is pretty steady at 27. Inside it's dropped to about 40. It's been, gosh, at least 30 or 40 minutes since I put that in the pocket there, so I think it's probably pretty close to steady. But that's still, what's that, a 13 degree difference, so that's 13 degrees that my body doesn't have to warm me. Whoops, see, it went up 1 degree from me holding it, probably. The breeze has picked up some, but I'm nice and cozy in here. And now that I've got an effective underquilt going, this top quilt is performing fine. It's fabulous. And it's better than a sleeping bag in my opinion. It's so much easier to get in and out of, or just move around in. Because the sleeping bag is under you, and then you move and it kind of pins you down. This thing, you just wrap it around your sides, and it isn't as bad. So definitely look into the top quilt if you are wondering which way to go. Look into the top quilt over a sleeping bag. And an effective underquilt, I think, is really essential to making your top quilt work properly. And maybe that should be underquilts plural, because I've got 3 layers under me right now, and that's probably what you're going to need to use, unless you have a really thick and effective down underquilt, which you know my feelings about down. But if it works for you, great. This top quilt has holes for your arms, one on each side obviously, and they snap closed, and they work fine in a bridge hammock, but in a gathered end hammock like this, when the sides are tucked around underneath you, it's just easier for me to stick my arm out rather than through here. So just a little pointer. Well, our temperature differential has narrowed. It's now 10 degrees, 27 outside, 37-ish in here, and going up because I'm holding the thing and it's warming up. So it's tempting to want to go minimalist and bring as little gear as you need, but I think when it comes to insulation, you should just assume it in the winter time, assume that you're going to need multiple layers, and if you have extra that you don't need, that's better than not having enough. But again, you got to test your gear. Everybody's physiology is different, your tolerances are different, and your gear is going to be different. How you use it, what you're using, it's going to be different from other people. You know, I'm in a 12-foot hammock right now, and I'm wondering if my 10-foot hammock might be easier to keep warm in, because it's smaller, so there's going to be a little bit less area inside. I don't know. Maybe that will be the subject of another video. We will see. I'll see you inside. Well, here is what happened with this one-wind underquilt and blanket combo. This is the hammock. This is the underquilt, and then the blanket snaps on the inside of the underquilt. But you've got all of this extra material here, and it just slides down. So you've only got one layer right in there, and that's about where I was feeling the cold spot. So put in the Ayamaya hammock to fill in the gap, and it did the job. So what I think I need... All right, here's a little something I'm going to try and see if that will fix the problem with the underquilts. There are 9 of these panels, so I've taken the center 3 and I've just fished an elastic cord through the hem, and the idea will be that it will hook up to the other part of the underquilt, and we'll just see if that helps. And I'll take a shot of it once I get it put together, and we'll see if it works or not. This tool here is called a loop turner, and I just slid it in there and used it to pull the elastic through. It worked pretty well. We may have the solution here. So the shot cord is running through here, 3 panels in the center, and what I've done is I've just run the shot cords through the tensioner that's already on the underquilt that tensions the end, and what it does is one on each side. What it does is it just kind of pulls this flat. The way to do it. That's the hammock's going to ride on top of this and probably keep it pushed down anyway. So yeah, this may be the way. All right. Excellent. Modern problems require modern solutions. And yes, we have a profusion of shot cord in here now, even more than we had before. But to be honest, shock cord is the duct tape of the hammocking world. It fixes everything.